Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about Amad Diallo and why I think it is not out the realms of possibility that Sunderland could go for him in the transfer window. And this is not insider knowledge, this is just me sort of looking at the lay of the land and what Sunderland have done in the transfer window and looking at Amad Diallo's situation at Man United and thinking there might be a potential chance that Sunderland could prize him out of Old Trafford. So to start, let's talk about Amad's future. He signed a contract at Man United in January 2025, so very recently until 2030, but a lot has changed since then. Manchester United have well-documented PSR issues. They're trying to sort of reshape their squad under Ruben Amorim, and he's got interesting tactics where Amad Diallo doesn't necessarily fit in. We've also seen Man United bring in Bryan Mbeumo, who plays in Amad's position. Ruben Amorim has been trying Amad at right wing back. Clearly, that is not where Amad Diallo is best. So it certainly feels like Amad is a player that is potentially surplus to requirements at Manchester United at the moment, simply because of how they are constructing their squad. The fact that he was their best player pretty much last season, although he did have injuries. Diallo was then replaced essentially with Mbeumo coming in the summer. He started the season on the bench against Arsenal. And I just think Amad would be sat there right now thinking, well, I've been a very effective player for Manchester United, probably their best player over the last 12 months. And the club have decided to sort of replace me, essentially. And I think that if I was him, I would probably be feeling pretty irritated right now that, he is not the first name on that Man United team sheet, even though he's been their best player. And to add on this, The Athletic ran an article recently talking about Amad and his future, and they'd said that Ruben Amorim sees him as a right wing back and a potential option there, which to me is just staggering. I don't understand why you'd have a player of his talent and put him at right wing back. Look, I know he's good defensively, he's very good in terms of tracking back, but that's what makes him such a good right winger or attacking midfielder. It's the fact that he is defensively so strong. He is not a defender. He's just a player who has that string to his bow. He's an excellent attacker. He's incisive. He's got good finishing. Those are the things you want Amad Diallo doing. You don't want Amad Diallo playing at right wing back. And I think Amad Diallo himself will look at this and think, do I want to play right wing back for Manchester United? Or would I rather play in the position where I am best at a different club in the Premier League? And I think, he will be thinking that himself, whether or not he's thinking that loudly or not. But we know he's had a fractured relationship with Manchester United. We know he had issues with Erik ten Hag. And I just wonder if he is sort of fed up of his situation at Manchester United right now. And I mentioned the PSR issues. Manchester United are desperate to offload players. They're struggling to get rid of like Jadon Sancho, Garnacho, numerous others, they need to shed off their books. And while Amad may not be a player they want to get rid of, fundamentally, if they want to change up their squad, they may have to sell a player that they want to keep. And Amad, I think, fits into that. He has value. He's a player who obviously has proven himself there. So could he become available if Man United want to address the other glaring issues in their squad? So what else is there to this? Well, we know that Amad loves Sunderland. He's always posting about Sunderland. He puts stuff about Sunderland on his social media all the time. He clearly loved his time here. He had a great affinity with the fans. He was a special player at Sunderland in the Championship. We all know that if you are, of course, a Sunderland fan watching this video. So I think that he would be inclined to look at Sunderland and say, well, do you know what? They're doing a lot of positive things right now. I know that I'd be a big player for them. It might make sense for me. Also added to that, he's very good friends with Simon Adingra, who came into Sunderland this summer, who impressed on the opening day of the season as well. So it could be the case that, he's convinced Adingra to go there. And if the opportunity arose to potentially move to Sunderland, well, why would he not look at that? He's looking at it and say he's friends there. He knows he settles in there. He knows he likes the club and he fits in there. So there are reasons to think that Amad would be interested in a move to Sunderland if his time at Manchester United is to come to an end. And we also saw Sunderland linked with Abdul Fatawu yesterday, who plays in a similar position to Amad. So it's clearly an area that Sunderland are looking to address before the end of the transfer window. And, Amad would be the perfect sort of fit for that, for what Sunderland want, which is a player that is, quick, athletic, very good technically, and is very, very good defensively. That's kind of the blueprint that Sunderland are going for in the transfer market. So I think that if there was a chance that Amad was available, Sunderland would obviously be interested in him. And the other thing with Sunderland is that they have done so much transfer business. I don't think it would surprise us if they were able to pull off a move like this. They have been so active in the market. They have been so ambitious in the market. Is it possible that they could pull off a deal like this? And look, where would I rank this in terms of a chance? It's probably like a 5% chance. It's not a high chance. But I think if you sort of look at the factors going on at Manchester United right now and what's happening with Amad in particular, the fact that he's not playing on the opening day, he's not starting, they've brought in Mbeumo to replace him. I think that he could be a player that Man United look at and go, well, do you know what? We like him, but we don't think that we necessarily have a place for him in our starting 11. And if we sell him, we'll be able to address the other areas of need. So it's not an impossible thing to look at. It's a little bit of a reach. And look, I'd be interested to know what everyone thinks in the comments on this and whether or not they think it's possible. But I don't think it's insurmountable for Sunderland to mount a move like this. So if Sunderland were to sign him, where would he fit? Well, obviously he would just go on that right wing, and we'd see all the wonderful things we saw Amad do in the Championship and all them wonderful things that Amad's done in the Premier League. I do think as well, the other thing to say with this is that if Amad does become available, he will have a lot of top teams interested in him. Top teams probably from the Premier League, but also from leagues around Europe. And it's whether or not that sway Sunderland have from his time here would be enough to convince him. Because if he's offered, say, you know, a top team in Spain, a top team in Germany, a top team in Italy, he may be more tempted when he gets Champions League football and whatnot. However, I also sort of think that Amad seems to be a player that leads with his heart, and I think that he enjoyed his time at Sunderland so much. He obviously wanted to join back on loan again at Sunderland. So I think he valued his time so much that he would look at it and go, well, do you know what? Sunderland also are known for buying in players and then selling them on. He could look at it and go, right, I can have a solid 2 years at Sunderland and then get a huge move again where I'll be a starter. Whereas at Manchester United right now, it very much feels like that they don't necessarily believe in Amad to be the answer to all their problems. And I think he probably looks at it and says, well, why? Because he's been such a good player for Manchester United since, you know, the last couple of years, since basically he came back on loan, from loan at Sunderland. So I don't think this deal is likely to happen, but I think Sunderland have been so surprising in the window. I think it's worth throwing out there. I'm very curious what people think. So comment, let me know if you think that this is possible. If I'm thinking, you know, pie in the sky, it's so unlikely. I'd be very, very curious. Please like and subscribe as well if you enjoyed the video, and we'll catch you for the next one.